Light is easier to control when you're noded out. It's time to unlock a new world of node-based animation. Noise generation. Allow me to introduce to you the Turbulent node. It's used on existing elements to make them wibbly. Furthermore, and even more interestingly, is the Turbulent Noise node. This creates a new image of wibbly shapes to mess with. While not as advanced or various as the noise generators in things like After Effects, oh boy, it can get stretched very far with a little imagination and experimentation. Fiddle with all these parameters inside layer properties and I'm sure you'll discover all sorts of interesting shapes to use. For this exercise, I'm going to get a quad map. It's like a peg, but it moves the 4 points. It's good for perspective and stuff. The Show Controls button at the top of the camera view will reveal the 4 controllable corners, and we can use the Transform tool to manipulate them. I punched these settings into the layer properties of my Turbulent Noise to get this streaky look. Essentially, the noise is just really tall and really squashed. And by putting the quad map into the top of it, I can stretch the top in and get some really heavy perspective. It's like a cone shape. To create the effect we're after, I'm going to need a contrast node. Slap that into the middle and notice what happens. I'm in render mode right now, by the way. And notice what happens as we start messing around with these meters, darkening the dark parts all the more. We could brighten the light parts all the more here if we wanted, but notice it's very flat there. Moving the midpoint around also gets some interesting effects. Notice there now how we're just getting these little white streaks and that's it. So quite like that. So let's put a glow in just underneath there. And the glow, you'll notice when I start changing it to different colors, it's just treating the Turbulent Noise like it's one big flat layer. We need a way so that it can only see white things. Fortunately, there is just that. Our old friend Grayscale Map Output. Here's the Grayscale node. Put that in at the top, open it up and change it to Map Output. This makes areas of darkness equal to transparent. If it is black, it is completely not there. So now the glow, we can do all sorts of things with it. I'm going to bloom it all the way out to say 15, intensity of 3, and give it say a clean string of itself underneath. Look at that. So now it's almost like a whole bunch of different laser beams coming around. And I can make it any color I want. One thing that can be quite effective to do is to have quite a saturated dark color bloomed outwards and then another glow on the string on top. This one's set to pretty much 0 or like 0.5, something pretty minimal, and give that more of a cyan type color, like similar area on the hue, but just much brighter. Messing with different colors as well can also get all sorts of different effects. How does it look with purple there? That's quite cool. Or even giving it a bit more of a greeny teal. From there, the effect can be animated simply by selecting the Turbulent Noise, going to its place in the timeline, and by pressing the plus to open up its parameters. There's one down here called Evolution. Moving this number up just sort of oscillates everything around. So I'm going to put a keyframe on 1 and one at say 90. Let's see what happens if I put in, say, 15. Of course, regular drawing mode, everything is completely invisible. So a render preview node, put that down at the bottom. You'll notice as I scrub this around, yellow frames appear, and these will pre-render now. So we can see it oscillating quite well. Notice it's a bit difficult to see against the gray background, so I'm also going to put in a composite with a color card underneath. That will be set to black. Look at that, see how that's oscillating now? It's quite cool. It's going quite quickly though, isn't it? Perhaps moving only to 5 over the course of all of these frames will get a nicer look. There we go, that's pretty cool. Quite like that. Okay, so you saw the character at the beginning of this video. So here's one I prepared earlier. Where beams of light punctuate out of Mr. Radiant. To get the light coming out of just the character, I'll show you the masking. Pretty straightforward. It's just this. Super gradient from light to dark. So this white area, the beams of light will fade away into nothing, and where it is black is where it is the most prominent. There's a hard cut around the side of the character. It's a bit of a crude method, but combined together with a bit of a blur, this is my mask. So anything that is black through to any version of gray is the amount that the beams of light will be allowed through, creating this look. That is then laid with the character itself, Bang. If you're interested in messing with this character rig as well, the working file for this and all of its different versions are available to all the Patreons. So if you found this useful, maybe give it a look. Thanks for watching.